That should do it.
Help your body or Villa Tax?
Villia. Yeah, it's Healthy Body. It's George Villia.
Yep. Okay. Help heal your body. Yeah, I don't see a live there either.
There we are. I see you live on this. I see you on Instagram. So we're there. And here comes Keith. Hi, Keithy.
What up, Jorge? Miguel?
You are, buddy.
Hello. How we doing?
Living the dream, brother. Living it. Cool. Literally.
Yes, you are. You guys are doing so good.
I was talking about you on Lori's live today.
On Michael? Good.
No, yours. We were talking, some lady was talking about A1C, and I'm like, oh, you got to talk to this guy. And brought up your stats.
Yeah, those stats are,
I think I've got, most people think I've got a pretty amazing story, yet your story ranks right up there. And same with Michael.
Yeah. The numbers are, you can't argue the numbers. The stats.
Yes. And the numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
At how fast our health is declining or has declined.
Right.
We're all old enough to remember the 70s. None of this. Half of this you never even heard of.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody had peanut allergies and all that crap. I mean, when you went to school, you ate what the school fed you, and that was that.
Yep.
There was no, I got a peanut allergy. Oh, well, we'll give you this.
Yeah, we can't have a birthday party. You can't have cupcakes.
Exactly.
You couldn't have certain things. Why? Because all of a sudden there was a nut allergy, and then all of a sudden birthday parties, and like, good gravy, golly molly, what in the heck of the world are you talking about?
I see Andrew.
Yes,
hello.
He's lurking.
Look at his background. He's up against the wall.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Man, I like that haircut. Gosh, that's a good haircut.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? What I'm afraid of is George keeps telling me that my hair is going to grow back, and I don't want any part of that.
You're going to look like Elvis by Christmas. I wouldn't worry about it.
Oh, my goodness.
So how long did your hair ever get, Andrew? How long did you ever have hair? I mean, how long on your head?
So I started having a receding hairline when I was 18.
Oh, never mind.
And when I was 24, I walked up behind my boss and I made fun of him because he had hair like this, and I went down there and I laughed at him because he was a great boss. He was one of the few like true mentor bosses that I had.
Okay.
And ironically, I went home that night and I had double folded my mirrors, and I actually saw the back of my head, and I'm like, ouch.
No way.
Yeah, I had lost like that much.
My longest was down almost to the tip of my butt.
Yeah. So I had mine to my collar when I was in high school.
And I cut it off once and went, oh, it's so much cooler. Actually, I lost a bet. And I shaved my head, and then it just kind of, that's where it stayed. I was like, well, whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Michael, how long was your hair ever?
Down to the middle of my back, and I had it perm like John Bon Jovi.
There you go. Perfect.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's how my wife fell in love with me.
Was that it?
Now, not so much anymore.
Okay.
You're going to look like a flock of seagulls.
Sure.
Dr. Kenny keeps coming in and out, falling in and out of love here.
I see that.
Yeah, it's coming in and out. Just fell out again. So you guys can kind of see the sides there. Okay, good. So we got that. And here we're going to bring him back on. Look at that guy. Look, he's got his nice do today. He's got all shiny, happy head, you know. We all should have that lovely curl.
He's got his happy hair on.
He does. It's all nice and polished. What are you going to do?
Man, I come on here to get abused, huh?
Well, you know, it's kind of a thing, you know.
Abused? Who got the nickname? This guy.
Hey, Well, we won't pull that one out. So
Perfect. So, guys, we got the Testosterone Tuesday. We're going to talk a lot about just kind of the things. I'm going to go through the highlights of it. And we're going to look at some other things. For example, tonight also, we have a science call. And every week we have a science call. And Dr. Dieter, who is a double board certified, he's an internist and a pediatrician, is leading the call tonight. So if you have an opportunity to be here in 2 hours after this, we're going to be on for 55 minutes. There's a call that will be on. That's a training call. I think Trent's doing it. I'm not sure. And then Dr. Dieter's call will be on at 9 o'clock. Right, 9 o'clock, right? Eastern?
yeah, the
And,
science falls at 9. That's what's available to everyone. Yep.
Yeah, and so that's a great call to come on. If you really want to learn about the science and you want to learn about gut health and how everything really works, he's the guy. And so one of the things we want to let everybody know as we go through this, where we're at, and we work together a lot and we love each other. But one of the things that we do know is that no matter how long you've traveled in the wrong direction, you can always turn around. There's always another path. One thing about the world of animals is a rhinoceros, which is my favorite animal on the terra firma. A rhinoceros cannot go backwards. They can pivot like a bulldozer, but they don't have reverse. And they go forward. And buffalo or bison, Katonka, if you're in the plains, it's Katonka. And rhinoceroses, we all go forward. We may shift direction. We may need to change our course, but we can always eventually go back to the right place. We're going to find the best grass. We're going to find the best water. And we're going to live and love everybody we can. And that's kind of one of the things that we have in our passion and our mission is to share our stories, let people know that there is hope. And that's one of the biggest things and takeaways that we want you to have when you're watching and listening to our shows. So I know that Dr. Kenny's on here, and he's kind of our fearless leader in a lot of different ways, because he said the great thing about this organization and the great thing about our whole world revolves around yes. Saying yes, being open, skeptical as heck. I mean, some of us are. I mean, some of us worse. And we're unless I put the hand in or whatever, my deal is I had day 88 circled on the refrigerator on the calendar. I would have used red ink, but I didn't have a red marker, so it wasn't black. But I had day 88 next, and we'll talk about why. But the fact is, the matter is that if you have an open mind, and you open your heart, you have the opportunity to change the world. Not just your own self, but all the legacy around you. We get to be a pebble in a pool and the ripples. We don't even know the directions and how far and how fast they're going to go. But everyone on this call has already experienced and continues to share. And that's why they're here tonight. They're volunteering their time to share their stories of literally life and death for many of us, or near death, or it doesn't even have to be that, but we are here as messengers. We are here to help share. And it's Testosterone Tuesday, because it's Tuesday. It just rhymes and it just happens to work. Then we're guys. But one of the things we know, we're going to talk about the signs and symptoms that all deal with testosterone, and it's a precursor for diabetes. It is a hormone. It's one of the 6 major hormones, and it's a precursor for that. And so things that'll happen, and here we got Jim's coming in. Hey, Jim, is that there's a whole thing of what? There's issues of sleep apnea. Some of the guys are going to talk about sleep apnea, body fat, man breast. Okay, we're going to talk about type 2 diabetes, fatigue, strength, loss of strength, wacky mood swings. You know, women, we give women all the credit for being all moody, but good gravy, golly molly. We kind of, they don't have the corner changed on that, do they? But we kind of also all push it off to them. We lose our sex drive, and that's something we're going to talk about. Most people never talk about things like sex and erections, and when testosterone's out of whack, and if ED's out of whack, and you start taking drugs for some of this stuff. But how does that really affect the relationship? Our spouses, and what we feel bad, they feel bad, everybody, you know. And so then you may try to do all kinds of wacky things. Endurance goes down, muscle mass goes down. And we're going to talk about that. Sarcopenia, hair loss. We were talking and joking about that, but it's a thing. It really is the thing. So we're going to talk about things of that nature. And so I think we're going to open up with Tales of the Crypt, if you will. And we're going to start with none other than the man on the stage. Let's talk about Dr. Kenny. So Dr. Kenny, tell us a little bit about what life was like before you said yes and got us all to say yes behind you. But in that great share and the great learning, what was life like? How did all of this evolve?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious if you look at that. I had every sign of insulin resistance. I had no idea how it affected testosterone. Like, I'd read it in the past, but it's kind of like you hear something, but until it really hits home, it doesn't hit home. And so I started developing insulin resistance, but I didn't even know that I had it. It started to happen. I started to gain, obviously, belly fat, as you can see in the picture on the left. But the picture to the right, I had also ended up in the hospital. So I spent almost 2 months in the hospital where my appendix had ruptured, because when your insulin is elevated, when insulin's high, your immune system and reproductive hormones are low. And so it starts to affect that. And I blew out my appendix. The next thing you know, I'm in the hospital. I gained tons of fat. I started to get injected with insulin because I was on a blood thinner, and they were waking me up every hour. And as they were waking me up to check my blood, I wasn't sleeping. Well, the less sleep you have, the more insulin resistant you become, and your cells stop listening to insulin. So you keep making more and more of it, which can take 15 to 20 years before you get diagnosed with diabetes and you lose blood sugar control. Well, I'm waking up in the morning when I did get to sleep, and they're taking my blood sugar and they're injecting me. And that's when I kind of had this epiphany. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not diabetic. Why are they injecting me with insulin? When I got out, I found this protocol. It's simple, it's sustainable. I noticed in practice that if things are easy, if they're simple and sustainable, people can do them. And that's what this is. And I was on it for a handful of hours, and I noticed immediately my mental clarity was back. I decided to get involved immediately just because I knew that, and I started to share what I had learned about this. I started seeing amazing things: type 2 reversal of diabetes, blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, skin tags started to shrink, fall off. My blood work was I was off blood pressure meds in a day. And it was just, I started to gain muscle again. I started to gain muscle in places that I couldn't get it. And my fatty liver's gone, my sleep apnea is gone, and I just feel freaking amazing. It's unbelievable. It's changed my life. And so I just, like anyone, I just naturally wanted to share it. I started to take to social media to share it because I knew there were a lot of people not getting this information, and I didn't realize what a buzz it would create. And then, George, I met you. I'll never forget you calling me up, and you're like, my God, this thing's amazing. Like, what is this? You know, we had this conversation, and you were in Davenport, Iowa, which is where I went to chiropractic college, which was so surreal. And it just kind of went from there. You were one of probably the first people. I feel like you're one of the earlier people to get involved. I don't remember exactly when it was, but I started this in like August of 2024. And it was a matter of weeks. My own wife noticed it. She was like, what are you doing? And then she got involved. And even from a female perspective, my wife had struggled with polycystic ovarian syndrome for 20 years. We had 2 miscarriages, 7 years to have my little girl. And so it affects women differently than it does men, obviously, but it affected her hormones, and she got involved, and now she shares it. And so it's just one of those things. I feel that when you have something that changes your life, you just want to help and serve other people and share your testimony to others. So thank you for having me. I hope that helps, but it's been transformational. with what we teach, and I should know you'll show it later. I mean, I have 70 and 80-year-old men all the time messaging me that they're waking up in the morning like they used to in high school. And this is natural with zero side effects. I mean, it's and it's in the PDR, right? The physician's desk reference where doctors prescribe drugs from. So thanks for having me, brother.
Great.
Any questions?
And
I mean,
so
let me
one
know.
thing, as a guy, as a guy that at any time did you have to change your hobbies or your activities? Are you more participant in sporting events or that kind of stuff? Has your golf game gotten better?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've never. I was when I was in the hospital. I got out. I could barely stand. I'd lost so much muscle. I mean, I literally, honestly, I couldn't put my deodorant on. I mean, I didn't. I wasn't able to shower for like 3 months. It was almost 3 months, and so after about 2 weeks on this, I want to go to the gym. Like I sprint now. I do sprints. Like your leptin levels reset. Insulin is the King Kong hormone, and when you reset it. It changes everything. And then also a lot of people get cortisol issues, right? And people learn about this, but the tea that we use, I mean, it also brings down cortisol naturally. So you start rebalancing your hormones and you start getting this energy. So I go to the gym probably 6 times a week. I walk, I don't know, 2-3 times a day. I walk the golf course also. I resistance train. I do push-ups all the time. I mean, I can tell I need to get up, move my body, and you just want to move your body. It's really funny. And I hear this all the time from people.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. So let's see. What else we got? Oh my goodness. Look what we got going on here. Look at that silly red guy. Look, he must be a fireman or something. He's wearing red today. What's going on there, Mike?
I actually have one of my firefighter hoodies on. Yes, I'm a retired firefighter paramedic at 28 years. I took care of everybody else's health but my own. I thought I was doing what was right, what I was told, how to eat, how to move, how to work out, personal trainers, dietitians, doctors, functional medicine, physicians, and everything else. And I became the guy on the left for over 20 years. And I could not understand what was going on with my body.
Really?
Personal trainers, I couldn't build muscle and I didn't lose any weight. Told to eat multiple times a day. I ate mostly healthy. Did I have junk food occasionally? Yeah, But last year I had to take my own ambulance to the hospital. And I got to see the world from a whole new perspective. I basically swallowed a giant red pill. And after an ER visit with a CAT scan, colonoscopy, which we all love, and then a follow-up with my own physician, I had no answers. Thousands of dollars and no answers other than they wanted me to take pills. It was ibuprofen that sent me to the ER with diverticulitis. I had a chronic condition of diverticulosis. And they said, well, we're just going to manage it with diet and pills, and your cholesterol's a little elevated, and, you're borderline type 2 diabetic. So we're just going to, I'm like, no, I don't want pills. Not in the least. So I went on a journey and I met the first speaker on TikTok. And I'm like, this is interesting, but do I want to buy something off of TikTok from somebody I don't know? So I did my own research. I even researched Dr. Kenny. He's from Michigan, my home state. And I see a fantastic group of chiropractors. And they said, if he's doing something, it's going to benefit you. So, yeah, I went ahead and I with my lovely wife and everything, she was a little skeptical because I already took a suitcase full of supplements, as she called it. And she did not want me to take another supplement and throw more money out the window. Well, in December 4th of last year, I said, I'm going to do it. And that month, I dropped 27 pounds. And if anybody knows anything about fire halls, we have dump trucks come to the station full of sweets. If it's made out of sugar, it was delivered. And because of what we do, and the tea we sip, I was able to avoid all that for the month of December and drop 27 pounds.
Nice.
I no longer hurt. My trick knee is no longer a trick knee. I feel like I'm aging backwards. I jokingly tell people I feel like I'm 20 again without a hangover. I own a successful handyman business, and I'm working long hours every day. And I go to bed. I sleep through the night. I never did that for many, many years. It was always my age or my profession that allowed me not to sleep. I also would go to the bathroom 45 times a night, also interrupting my sleep. Doctor also said, get used to it. That's age. All that is gone. I feel fantastic. And I just want to scream this from the rooftops to anybody who will listen, because this is renewed my health, and I now want to help others do the same.
Perfect. And so what was one of the first things you noticed as you started progressing on this road to health? What are a couple of first things that you noticed right off the bat?
Energy. Yeah, energy. And I wasn't hungry. I didn't need to eat 45 times a day, because that was the thing. When I was on duty, I was always slamming coffees, putting little snacks in my mouth, or little sweets just to kick that sugar and the caffeine up to get through the day. I had enough energy. I never felt 2 or 3 p.m. sluggish nap wanting to come on. I'm like, no, now I feel amazing.
So when you started, what was your major goal? What was your real intent? When you started this whole journey, what was your number one, going to prove it to the world, to myself? What was that?
I never want to take medicine, because in the 28 years of being a firefighter paramedic, I saw the same patients all the time. They continue to get sicker and sicker and sicker, more diseases, more pills, take them to the hospital again, more pills, they get sicker, until the day I had to do CPR on them. And I said, at the age of 52, I do not want to start on that hamster wheel towards a death of CPR.
Cool. All right. Perfect. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank
We're
you.
glad you're not riding in the ambulance no more, buddy.
I'm happy to not be. Now I get to help people
really
really get healthy.
There you go. This is Dr. Bobby. We have all kinds of professionals. Here is a doctor of pharmacy. Here is a major accountant with huge things in Alabama. Here's our buddy Scott. Look at that. Look at that. Inflammation's gone, right? I mean, I joke that about God. I prayed to God to get me into shape. And so he has a sense of humor. So he made me in the shape of a pear. But some of us move all the way up to gourd. And I think Scott managed that one as well. There's how he look at that. He's a Marine. You're never an ex-Marine. You're still a Marine. And he was in the hospital, the VA, and he had tungsten rods and screws, and they snapped. Those broke in his body. He had to have surgery several times. And because he's on this protocol, his blood was so pristine, they were poking him almost every hour, 2 hours, they couldn't believe how good his blood was. And there he is. Look at that. He almost lost 100 pounds. And our buddy Ross, truck driving, singing, and Ross, we're with you. Our hearts are with you for Lulu. We get to be friends in this group. Oh, wait a minute.
Video testimony.
There you go. Who's this now? Is that somebody we know?
Yeah,
I don't recognize that person.
Life changer there.
I don't recognize this person.
Hey, George,
Right.
Can I add one more thing you reminded me? I forgot.
Yes.
So I had my physical back in November with my doctor. He looked at all my blood work when 6 months previous he wanted to put me on medicine, and a year previous he wanted to put me on medicine. He says, Mike, your blood work is perfect. You set out to renew your health naturally, and you did it. I can't believe it. You are one of 2 patients that ever did it, and you did it in record time. My blood work, just like Scott's, is perfect.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
just because we follow a simple protocol.
Mhm.
We follow a very simple protocol, and there's no magic. It just works. There's a difference between magic and works.
Yeah.
Right. So who is this guy and what the heck?
Yeah, I actually like that picture. That picture is actually about 4 months apart. And I had lost a bunch of weight, but I hadn't started working on building back up my muscle. So if you go to the next one, that's about a year apart. And you can see that I've actually gotten even more healthier because I was able to build that muscle back again. You know, I've always had a lifetime of dealing with weight. I remember in elementary school, kids making fun of me because their family had whole wheat bread and we had white bread, and I'm like, "What are you joking about?" And it brings back memories now, talking about what we put in our body and how it's been modified, right? So my wife and we'd done a couple of lifestyle things in the past, so I kind of maybe attribute that to the fact that even though I'm 53, I haven't had any major issues like some of you guys heading to the hospital. But 14 years ago, I went on a CPAP. I started testosterone replacement therapy because I was clinically low on testosterone. I started gabapentin because I had restless leg syndrome. And they wanted to put me on cholesterol drugs and blood pressure drugs. And I never let them put me on those because I'd never seen any evidence that those actually did anything but change the numbers. So a year ago, Mr. Dr. Kenny here found my wife, and they'd worked before together. So it was relatively easy for him to convince us, because we used to work together in another capacity, that this was something real. And so it didn't take much convincing because, we were blessed because we did it together. Anytime you can do something with your spouse that may start off hard is so much easier when you can do it with your spouse. We were both on board. We were both ready to fix the stuff we've been dealing with for a really long time. And so in December, we ordered, and unfortunately, to the end of the year, it takes a little longer to get products. So like January 4th, we started this. And for me, I would say the biggest thing I lost was weight. First 4 months, I lost 40 pounds. But the coolest part was I was working at this company that had this sugar bowl, and I'd walk by it 10 times a day, and I'd pull something out 5. And the very first day I walked in drinking my tea, I walked by that bowl 10 times, and I never stopped.
Good job.
And
Way to go.
it's just phenomenal how that tea changes the way your body operates. And the cool thing is it's coupled with the fiber. And I knew my gut was having a problem because I was having gut problems. I've always had gut problems, or I always had gut problems, and I had allergies. And I've been a year allergy free, and it's the first time in my life. It's kind of funny when you're on testosterone, they want you to get your blood drawn every 3 months. At least most clinics do, because they want to make sure, they know it's a high risk thing, right? It's not risk free to get injected by testosterone. So they say our clinic requires you to get tested every 3 months. So ironically, I had my blood test like a week before we talked with Dr. Kenny. So it was perfect timing for me to hit the 3-month window, just when I'm not like some of you guys. I wasn't out to prove it wrong. I was out to prove it right, because I needed something to fix our health. And so my triglycerides went down 90 points. My HDL had never been above 50, and it was at 56. I'm just like, what?
Phenomenal. Way to go.
I went to see my doctor, and he's like, wow, whatever you're doing is working. And I'm like, would you like to have more information? Nope. Just, we'll see you in 6 months. So I saw another doctor 6 months after that, and she was like, wow, oh, wow. Well, we'll see what your labs look like this time. And then I got a call, and the only thing the call was, hey, by the way, you don't need to go see that kidney specialist anymore. You don't need to see the urologist anymore. You no longer need blood pressure medicine, and you no longer need cholesterol drugs. And I'm like, and you don't want to learn more? What's wrong?
Good. Congratulations.
What'd your testosterone go to, Andrew? And like, what kind of allergies were you having? Do you mind?
So my allergies, I'll have to pull up my testosterone here in a couple minutes and I can share. It's still a little bit on the low side, but it's still coming up. My allergies, I had seasonal allergies. I had food allergies. I mean, dogs, cats, dander, dust, trees, weeds. I mean, if it's floating in the air, I was allergic to it. I was taking 2, sometimes 3 different allergy meds to get through a day. There were times in my life where it was only like 4 times a year, but most of my life it was all year round.
God, I know that same feeling. It used to be allergies were if it's blowing in the wind, pollen, whatever it was. It's either the corn and the weed or the grass and the trees. There's always something going on. I used to be a 24-hour take 1 or 2 or 3 over the counter to try to do the allergy stuff. I've been off. I've gone through seasons without it.
Makes you tired.
Here's the thing too. Like, think about that, right? What you said, George and Andrew. Like, most people, it's just in the air. It's this. Well, we're all breathing the same thing. Why do people respond so differently, right?
Right.
And if your insulin's more out of balance than someone else's, if your insulin's elevated because your cells aren't listening, then you have to make more. It's like drinking alcohol. If you never drink some alcohol, it's not going to take a whole lot, right? Yeah. And that's what happens on the protocol. You're not eating all day long. And so you're keeping your insulin low and sensitive. And it doesn't take a lot when you actually do eat. And so if you're doing this and controlling insulin and blood sugar, not feeding those bad bacteria in the gut, your inflammation stays low. And this is why we see it all the time, right? People, their joints stop hurting, their mental clarity comes back, their gut heals, right, Andrew? Your allergies, it could be autoimmune, whatever it is, those things start to subside once you feed the gut what it needs. So, dude, I'm so happy for you, man. Thanks for sharing. I didn't know all those other things you've been dealing with, brother.
Oh, and I forgot one. I'm like you. I stopped using my CPAP after 14 years. So
I'm sure Benita appreciates that, right?
My she doesn't get blown away at night anymore. My testosterone serum was at like 123, and I think borderline normal is 260, and I went to 266. So
without any injections, right?
Without any injections. Yeah.
How much money are you saving without using all those other things? Do you have any idea?
So my CPAP, depending on whether you were in a high deductible plan or not, I mean, a CPAP is $2,500, and it would cost me about $300 a quarter to maintain supplies. Testosterone, luckily, was fairly inexpensive. It only cost, I had a pretty decent drug plan at the time. It was costing me about $50 every 13 weeks or 9 weeks. Every 9 weeks. But
and if you're paying cash for that, it's probably a couple $100 a month.
Yeah. Easy. And the gabapentin was a cheap generic drug, but I didn't want to be on it forever.
Not gabapentin. Whew, no.
Yeah, I was on a low dose, but still not.
That's a nasty one. Absolutely, for sure. Well, great, Andrew. And what was one of the first things you noticed? And what surprised you the most?
Well, just the food noise, man. That was the biggest deal, because I knew that if I learned the science behind it, and I learned that if I could fast and I could fast appropriately, then I could make this work. And the biggest thing I was worried about was the food noise, and there just isn't any.
Perfect. Great. Awesome. Well, who's this guy? He's like, this guy's a fishing guy. He likes to fish. Did you know that?
Got off the lake.
Look at this guy. Lives on a lake so he can just drop a line any old time he wants.
Yeah, it's been about 8 hours out there today.
Real. So what did we pull out today?
Oh, I caught a little bit of everything and not a whole lot of anything.
Perfect. So you were fishing. You weren't catching. You were fishing.
Yeah, just out enjoying life.
So James, what was life before? And you got a story. I'm just going to be quiet and let you tell the story. What happened to you?
Well, back when I was young, I thought I was bulletproof, so I didn't exactly take good care of myself. I lived pretty rough life. I mean, as far as my work, I'm a structural engineer, but I owned a construction company, did construction all my life, and run a bridge inspection program. So I'm always out climbing, always doing, you know, physical work. And on top of that, I trained in mixed martial arts most of my life. So I always had somebody trying to pull my head off or my arm out of socket or wrap my leg around my back or, in jujitsu and things like that. So anyway, I was pretty beat up. I had a doctor tell me one time, I think I was in my mid-30s. He told me I had the body of a 70-year-old at the time. So I've got discs that are messed up. I've got, or had some arthritis in my back, and of course the big thing was at 50, I had a heart attack. Would have make
You
a
had
heart
a heart
attack.
attack, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was within less than an hour of not being here anymore. So the doctor said after it was all said and done. But so I've been pretty, beat up and broke down and lots of aches and pains and disabilities but once I started this protocol, which I can credit my wife for that, she had found Dr. Kenny and she started on it, and I was hell bent that I wasn't going to do it. I was not taking any more crap, all the medications I was on. But pretty quickly, saw the results that she was having, and I mean, within just weeks. And she come to me one day. She's like, "You got to do this. It's not negotiable." And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I should." So once I started on it, like in six weeks, my triglycerides dropped 51 points.
What? Say
Yeah,
that one more time.
51 points in 6 weeks. My triglycerides dropped 51 points that quickly.
Now, were you exercising and doing diets and that, or just how 51 points in what?
I just,
Just the tea?
I'm sorry, I said 6 weeks. It was in 3 weeks. My wife just corrected me. In
There
three
you go.
weeks. So half the time I just said it was in 3 weeks, it dropped 51 points.
Now, was it
But
hard to
no, I
do
didn't.
that?
I
Was it
just,
hard?
I just started following the protocol. I cut out the sugar. I mean, and started doing the protocol with intermittent fasting. I followed it the way it was supposed to be done. I didn't. I mean, I walk. I try to go out and walk whenever I have the time. But no, I didn't. I mean, that was it. I just did the protocol.
So what you're saying is that it works.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly. Yeah, for sure. I The doctor had wanted. I was on cholesterol medication, uh, blood pressure medication, blood thinners. The whole gamut that goes along with a heart attack and heart problems. And I had just been to the doctor, 3 weeks or prior to that, and she said she wanted to increase my cholesterol medication, and which I didn't do. But once I got the blood work back through our program, everybody gets to see it because it's online. And she she immediately called me when she got my blood results back, and she said the medication's working great. Don't change anything. Well, I didn't tell her I hadn't been taking it. It was the protocol. Yeah,
So she thought she was doing leaps and bounds and really doing a great job with what she had prescribed, and you were on the protocol,
yeah,
and
and
you
nothing to do
got
with
results, and you didn't need the
nothing to do with the statin. I'd completely stopped taking it. It was all the protocol, and my blood work's really good now. And
perfect.
all those aches and pains from all the inflammation and stuff I had. I mean, like today, I spent about 8 hours out on my boat. I could have never, ever have done that before the protocol. There would have been no way. And if I had have forced myself to stay out there, I wouldn't be able to do nothing for the next 2 days after.
Isn't
But
that amazing?
yeah,
It's amazing, isn't it?
it's completely transformed my life. I tell everybody I never thought I would feel good again. but I do. I feel good now. And I didn't realize how bad I felt until I started feeling better. I mean, I was in bad shape, and it's amazing what you get used to, you know. But now that I'm on this protocol and I've lost the weight and I've fixed and righted all the wrongs, you know, it's life's good. Life's good again. And it's
Isn't
only
it
getting better.
amazing? Isn't it amazing? Sometimes, guys, that people they talk about the weight loss as kind of a thing, as a big thing, but it's the inflammation, it's the changing of our shapes and our sizes, the fluidity of our joints, our abilities to move, the clarity, the better our vision, our acuity, our senses, our skin just improve. And we got there by the old story of how do you boil a frog, right? You just put it in the water and let it keep swimming and have a good time. You slowly warm it up until all of a sudden it's go ah. So the fact of the matter is everybody's story so far has been just that, right? We slowly grew into the mess that we were in, and then we were able to very rapidly reverse it, right? Make the changes are life altering. So incredible. I mean, and now you've got what, 2 grandkids? You have how many grandkids you have?
Yeah, we got 4. We have 2 down here close to where we live. So
So
Hey
they can play
George,
with Grandpa?
Andrea should do Menopause Monday, right?
Well, I think that's coming on. I think that I've heard that's coming.
Is it?
I've really truly heard that's coming.
Got to make it rhyme, right?
Exactly. You know, that's
maybe we should do Menopause Monday. I don't know.
There we go. We could recapture it, right? Absolutely recapture it. I'm all good for that. So there's John, our buddy John, and John's not with us tonight. John, we're praying for your daughter and safe trip down to El Paso. But John's a great man, and he has a wonderful story. He'll be on here again. This is John's story. Part of it was a foot ulcer. If you've never seen that, that's John's story. And look at these guys. If you saw people like this, if this was like this, you guys, all of you have had people that seen you like here, and now you look at and what they do. People ask. They ask, how did you do that? And guys, that's if you're watching this, we want to help you be in the same story. We want you to have a happy ending and restart. I mean, we've got guys here, 40, 50, 60, and I'm the old guy at 70. So we've got decades. We've got kids, grandkids. I've got great grandkids. We want to be around for our children. We want to be around for our grandchildren. We're going to be around for our great children. I'm going to be around now. I want to be around. I'm going to have 5 generations. I need one more to not have the 5 generations. Anyway, just saying how it's all going to work for us, guys. And then here, look at this. Oh, look who we came stumbling across. The man in the middle, our buddy Keith. And I met Keith in Illinois at a live event. He drove a couple hours just to come see us twice. And then, well, he's got a story. He's just got to tell you his story because we've got the big boy here. So take it away, Keith.
Thanks, George. So yeah, I was type 2 diabetic for 25 years, since I was 30 years old. On a slew of, on 108 insulin every day, gradually got to that point. The amount of meds I was taking was staggering. And I had managed, I did what the doctor said. If they told me what to do, I was the good patient. I did what I was told. And in 2018, I got an autoimmune disorder, Guillain-Barré, that ravaged my nervous system and left me. I was struggling walking. I was in so much pain. I was on Oxy, Norco, and pregabalin. At one point, Andrew, I was on gabapentin. And it kind of all came to a head in January of last year when I had a foot ulcer, that one George showed the picture of, that went septic and put me in the hospital. And 2 days later, on my daughter's gender reveal party day, they called her a half an hour after she found out what she was having, I passed away. She was at the hospital. They paddled me back to life, thank God. But, and I came across this protocol in May, and my daughter and I had already been talking about end of life conversations. And I watched for about a month. And when my grandson was born on June 3rd of last year, I bought into the system. I had to do something. I had everything to lose. And I was literally just waiting to not be here anymore. And the first thing I noticed when I started it on my birthday, so happy birthday to me, I guess. And my energy level went through the roof. I mean, I hadn't had this much energy in, gosh, 30 years. I wanted to get back in the gym. I had to burn it off. I didn't know what to do with it all. And on day 2, I was off 108 units of insulin a day. One thing I forgot to mention about day 1, I started sipping the tea. I was that guy that went to McDonald's every single day for breakfast. I haven't been to McDonald's in 7, 8 months since I started. And I kid you not, within a week, I noticed my depression lifting, and I didn't even realize how depressed I was until I wasn't. Um, and and so anyway, at the end of 60 days, I was down about 60 pounds. I had lost about 8 inches on my waist. I was off 14 of my medications and all my insulin. At the end of 90 days, I was down about 70 to 75 pounds, and I was off 100% of all my medication, all doctor confirmed. And I've been on it now for 6 months, just over actually, and I am down over 90 pounds. I've lost 14 inches on my waist. I dropped my pant size from a size 50 to a 36. I went from a 4X shirt down to an extra large, which is what I'm wearing now. I just went shopping for clothes for really the first time just the other day, and it was quite refreshing not having to look for the jumbo size. But I I kid you not, I didn't think I was going to be here. I didn't think I should
just,
be here.
Just to be clear, here's some of the meds. This is a box of Keith's meds. He just cleaned them out.
Yeah, I'm still working. I'm still finding them. I apparently have them stashed everywhere. But I was on metformin. I was on the statin. I was on the 6 injections of insulin a day. 3 different pain meds, 4 different heart meds for blood pressure because my blood pressure was 200 over 100.
Weren't you getting injections in your eyes too, right? Keith,
Yeah, I was getting injections in my eyes every other month. And for those of you that, if somebody tells you it doesn't hurt, I'm here to tell you it's a little different than they think. But my eye doctor, when I saw him, I kind of set everything up around the 90-day mark. And I saw my eye doctor, and he said the back of my eyes were smooth as glass. And he hadn't seen them look this good in over 4 years. My vision's actually improved. I barely wear my glasses anymore. My cardiologist just stared at me, couldn't figure out until she figured out I had lost a bunch of weight. And she asked what was going on, and I told her, and she kind of raised an eyebrow, and I'm like, it's in the physician's desk reference. You can do all your own research. And she said, okay. And she went to work. My foot doctor, the one that saved that foot ulcer and saved my foot, is sharing it with his patients. All my pulmonologists told me I left them nothing to complain about. It's truly, for me, it truly saved my life.
Keith, how long were you under managed care for
oh
this?
God. For diabetes, over 25 years, or it'll be 25 years this year. And when I found out I was diabetic, here's the kicker. My diabetic coach walked in with a Ziploc baggie full of M&Ms and told me, you can eat these. You just can't eat them all. Oh, okay. Well, one's just as bad as a ton. And I was never taught any of this information. And since I found it on TikTok, of all places, it has literally been, for me, it's life altering.
And your greatest joy that you just got to do at Christmas, what was that?
I got to go push my grandson around in a shopping cart making racing noises for 5 days straight. And it is truly a blessing. Now he gets to know who I am, and I get to teach him all the bad things grandpas are supposed to teach him.
We do not teach bad things. We just teach mischief.
Yes. Well put, George. So yeah, I know where I'd be right now. So had Dr. Kenny not said yes, and had Anne Marie not say yes, my life would be down a totally different path. And I thank God every day.
And isn't it amazing, guys, when you start look at the similarities between Keith's foot and you go back over to John's? No one talks about this kind of stuff. No one talks about this kind of thing, right? I mean, this is less talked about than ED. This is less talked about than sleep apnea with the mask and the CPAPs. That's why we're trying to educate people, because there's a silent mess going on. Food got us into this mess. Food can get us out. That really is true. And here's Gordon. And Gordon he's out of Missouri, and you and James, you and Gordy need to get together because he loves to fish. Now he's a cat fisherman. He's a trout line fisherman. Last time I went with him, Dr. K, we were on Missouri. We got a 50-pounder, and the bait was a goldfish. Okay, but I'm telling
that's because that's the only thing that they can see in the freaking muddy water in Mississippi.
Could possibly be, absolutely. We'll have to test that one out. So you guys, we start looking. Here's yours truly. This is a year apart. This is me a year apart. Looks like I swallowed myself pretty easily. That's a year apart at the same party, doing the same event, same type of thing. Here's Dr. Jim. Dr. Jim's a little older than me, but look at this. Guys, it works for all ages. It works all the ways. Here's 223 years. Here's an 80-year-old, all on the protocol. And we are healthy, we're happy, and we defy anybody to keep up. But we can get up and down with our grandkids with no business. I mean, Keith, the same thing for you, right? I'll bet at one time you had difficulty getting up and down.
I couldn't walk when I came out of the hospital. I was in a wheelchair. And I graduated to a walker, then a cane, and then I finally was able to get rid of all of it. And I noticed yesterday I was doing some cleaning around the house, and I just didn't even think about it, but I went down onto the floor to pick something up and sprung right back up, and I was like, huh, that's new.
It is, isn't it? It's amazing, the new little things. Again, things we got to that left us that now we get to reclaim. one of the lessons we want people to learn from here is there's hope. There is hope. When things can be reversed, things can be changed, they can be altered, and we aren't necessarily. Here's an 80-year-old. We're not necessarily. This is Bill. He's a Marine. Look at the difference in a year. That's another Marine, just like Scotty. And so here's yours truly. Look how much hair I lost. Now look at this carefully, Andrew. See, the hair comes back, just so you know. I just want you to realize that. You have hope. You won't necessarily always have to wear that hat. But this is where
I hope so too. I want hair again.
What are you guys talking about? Are you kidding me right now?
What you talk about, Willis, right?
This is all about saving money. If I have to start cutting my hair again, it's going to start costing me money.
You know, Andrew had mentioned how much he was saving. I figured it up. I'm saving literally over, after paying for the protocol, between breakfast, snacks, sodas, I am saving over $500 a month.
Wow.
It is. And how fast is guys, how fast is breakfast now? How much time do you spend doing
breakfast? 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
Hot water, cold water, and we're out, right? Right? I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, and one of the things that people think about, we talk about, it's like $5. The protocol's only $5 a day. You say it's good breakfast, but we never consider how much you spend eating on weekends.
Next time we're together, George, I'll buy you breakfast.
Right? You had lunch, dinner, Saturday and Sunday is what? It's junk mobile time, right? I mean, good gravy, good golly, Miss Molly. No one added that into savings. And like we're saying, guys, it's age, sex, it works. The race doesn't matter, right? The numbers work. The numbers work. This is Sam. When you get to hear Sam's story, you guys will go crazy. Sam had brain fog so bad, it brought him to his knees. He got out of the truck he was driving, went to the ground on his knees and prayed.
He didn't know where he was.
Didn't know where he was. Couldn't figure out how to use an app for 30 years. So, and we do we do stuff. Today is science calls coming up in an hour from now. We're gonna have couples. We've got Alzheimer's. We've got all kinds of teachings that you guys have the opportunity to listen to stories that work for everybody, because it works in ways you don't even know. It's constantly, because all of our hormones interact. There's not an island. They don't work only on one thing. Everything causes something else. It's all a domino effect going through our body, how everything works. So my story, just real quick, guys, just like a lot of us on here, I'm lucky to be alive. Literally lucky to be alive. Now, I'm different. I didn't go to the hospital. I wasn't in the hospital. I didn't have to be brought back. God just kept me alive.
They tried to bring you in, though, didn't they?
They did. They tried. They wanted me in. And just for the numbers, just so you know, my fasting, 20-hour fasting blood glucose was 834. And my A1C was 18.1. What that means is that is medical care immediately is necessary. Done. I'm 800 times, just on glucose, on the fasting blood glucose, I'm 800 times more than what the standard should be. My A1C at 18.1 means that my red blood cells, the ones that carry oxygen, have been glycated, which means it's like creme brulee, when they burn cream on it like that. When that happens, that's what it was. So I'm blessed to be alive. I just want to tell Mike, thank you for being on. Keith, thanks for being on. Andrew, thank you for being on. Dr. Kenny, thank you for your time. And James, thanks for being on. We'll be back next Tuesday. Have a great week. Thank you. Yahoo!
George.
What? We got to have fun.
Absolutely. Love you, brother.